Sukkot 5,776 to the creation of the world. Today we are truly privileged to do a Syium on both masechtot Tamid and masechtot Midot. We're going to ask questions about those two masechtos to Eליהו and Yehuda, and they will tell us all about it. We are starting with masechtot Tamid. How many places do the Levim guard in Beis HaMikdash?
21.
And how many places do the Kohanim guard in Beis HaMikdash?
3.
What are those 3 places?
Beit HaTinus, Beit HaMoked, and Beit HaNitzot.
Correct. Who can sit in the Azara?
Just a king from Beit David.
If one has 10 linens, only the bottom one has shatnez. Can he sit on top of the 10th linen?
No!
Correct. Why is that?
Because if there's a gzera, maybe one thread is going to go over you.
From the bottom linen. Who was seen to Alexander Smogdon, Alexander the Great, before he would go to war, and with his merit he would win? What happened to the Beis Mikdash of the Kutim?
It was burnt and wrecked. Like
by the Jews.
Wanted to do to us.
Measure for measure. What should one do before he drinks wine, and after he drinks, what should he do to the cup?
Wash it.
And before and after he drinks water?
Pour a little out of the cup.
Why?
To take away the spit.
Why is wine different than water?
Because wine you can't pour anything because it's bizuyoch, but mine is water. It's not bizuyoch.
One who spits in front of his Rebbe? If Ish Harabais, the one who's in charge of the guards in Beis HaMikdash, sees that the guard is sleeping, what does he do to him?
He hit him and also...
Hit him with what?
With his stick. And also burn his clothes.
He has permission to burn his clothes. Why isn't this considered Baal Tashris?
Because Baal Tashris from the Torah is just in wrecking trees.
That's what the Sdei Chemed says.
But rest of things just derbanan, so it's like a fish or a fish etiu.
Therefore, Hefker Beis Din. Ezo derech yeshara sheyavor lo ha'adam. What is the proper way for a person to conduct himself? What does that mean?
Like whoever tells you what to fix.
Because then you'll improve and you'll get better, like the rebukes. And some say, Yachzik be'emuna yeseira, Yisa ve'yiten be'emuna. One who rebukes his friend l'shem shamayim, what does he merit? Zoiche lechelko shel HaKodesh Baruch Hu u'moishchin alav chut shel chesed. Why did they institute they should not be toirem the mizbeach, but only with a pice? Lottery.
One time they used to do who that gets there first. Then whoever reads up the kevish and gets to mizbeach first. Then somebody pushed his friend.
One of the Kohanim. And what happened?
His leg broke.
Is there any exaggeration in the Torah to make a point sometimes to strengthen the Inyan? Give me an example. How many Kohanim were needed in order to remove the paroiches?
300.
Because of the so much gold that was in it, it was so heavy. Is this an exaggeration?
Yes.
Just to show how many Kohanim volunteered. Why didn't they bring olive tree and grape trees to the Atzei HaMa'aracha? We learned that all the wood is kosher except those 2.
Because it doesn't burn nice, because lots of smoke, it makes lots of smoke. Another reason, because then...
And then it's not kvoido shel makom.
Another reason, because then there could be any wine and any oil, and Israel's going to make halal.
Well, because of Yishuv Eretz Yisrael. What did the person who saw that the time of Shchitas Tamid has come in the morning used to say? One word. Barkai, from the language of Tzohar and O. Why did they need this?
Because one time they did it too early.
Till work did you hear the sound of the opening of the gate, the great gate that was opened in Beis HaMikdash? And how far was Yericho from there?
10 from south.
And what else would you hear up till Yericho?
Bini Karos.
And Kol HaMagrefa, which is an instrument in Beis HaMikdash. The flute.
The singing of the Levim.
Singing of the Levim, Kol HaTziltzal, and the call of the etz that Ben Katin did to the kio, and also called a shoifa. Some say
also the Kohen Gadol when would say the name of Hashem
in Kodesh HaKodeshim. Till where could you smell the smell of pitum aktoyres? Till where could you smell it? Who would sneeze as a result of that smell? The goats of the father of Rabbi Elazar ben Diglai in Be'arei HaMachol, which was very far from Yerushalayim. How many steps were before the menorah?
3.
Were they made out of plastic?
No, I don't. Rock.
How many tables in the Azara?
13.
Correct. Let's break it down. 8 out of marble in Beis HaMizbeach, in the north of the Mizbeach, on which you wash the kravayim of the korbanos. 2, the marav, in the west of the kevesh, in the ram, one of shaish, one of silver, on which you put the limbs of oilos hayachid, and one out of silver, which you put how many klei shares? 93. And 2 more in the ulam, before the hechal, one of marble and one of gold, on which you would put the lechem hapanim after it's baked. And on the silver one, lechem hapanim on Shabbos. Why is it? Therefore, before it is eaten, it goes up in Kedusha and not the reverse. And one more table of gold inside the hechal of Moshe Rabbeinu, on which you put lechem hapanim Tamid, from Shabbos to Shabbos. Altogether, how many tables?
13.
That is correct. Why did they do one out of marble and out of gold and silver to put the bread on?
Gold and silver makes the food to be hot, and then it gets ruined.
Yep, it becomes stale. But there was a miracle with lechem hapanim. It was hot and fresh a week after it was baked, just like the day it was baked. So why is there a problem?
It tells us in our name.
Alexander the Great asked the elders of the Negev, what is a greater distance? From the Shamayim to the Aretz, or from the east all the way to the west?
East to west.
How did they prove it to him?
Because when the sun is on the side, in the east or the west, you can look at it. But when it's high up above you, you can't look at it.
And Chachamim say the distance is
alike.
Equal. What was created first, he asked him, Shamayim or Aretz?
Shamayim.
Because it says in the Pasuk, first the Shamayim is mentioned. What was created first? Or Choshech? They said, there's no answer to this. But why didn't they tell him before that darkness was created first? Because it says, and only then it refers to light.
Because they were afraid he's going to start asking about Master Makava.
So why did they answer the previous question about Shamayim ve'aretz?
They thought he just wanted to ask one little question.
And he's going to stop, but he didn't stop. He also asked who is considered wise. Mihu chacham? Who is a giba? Who is mighty? One who conquers his yetzer, who subdues it. Who is considered rich? One who is happy with his lot. Mayase adam ve'yichyeh.
He should make himself, he should be not stick out anywhere, and then everybody's going to have mercy on him, he's going to live a long time.
Mayase adam ve'yamus.
He should like try to stick in everywhere, and then everybody can hate him, and then you can have ayin hara and he's going to die.
Mayase adam ve'yeh mekubal ala brios, and he's going to be accepted.
He should hate the king.
The king and the government, but one who is accustomed to speak about the government and the king. People are jealous and they hate him. So what did Alexander say about this answer? He had.
I have a better advice. Like the king, and then you could give everybody protection.
You have good connections with the government and try to help your neighbors. Everybody's going to like you. He also asked him, where is it better to live, in the ocean or in dry land?
Dry land.
How did they prove it to him?
Because the sailors they're not, they just feel good when they get to the land.
They continued answering him with great wisdom, and then what did he do?
He gave them a gold necklace he put a gold necklace on their neck, and he gave them red clothes.
Very expensive clothing. What weighs more, the eye of a person or a lot of gold and silver.
The eye of a person.
Why?
Because he always wants more and more.
This was referring to Alexander Magdon, Alexander the Great, according to the Maharal. Where is the Gehenom?
Up high or behind the chayot.
And what is it made out of?
The eye of the chayot. The sweat of the chayot.
The chayot referring to different types of angels. One who learns Torah at night. What is Kenegdoi?
Shem.
Shchina Kenegdoi. What do Tamid Chachamim increase in the world? There was one of the kelim in Beis Hamikdash, not the instrument, but one of the kelim which is called magrefa. It would make so much noise that when the kohen would throw it between the ulam and the mizbeach. Why was this noise necessary?
Because nobody in Yerushalayim would be able to hear his bread when they were talking.
Why is this noise necessary? That is true that the noise was so much that a person wouldn't be able to hear his friend. But why is it necessary? 3 reasons to have this noise.
One, a Levi would hear this noise and he would know that the Levim are going to sing, so he'd run and sing with them.
At the time of the Nisuch Hayayin. And what about the Kohanim?
They would know that right now they're finishing their studies and all the Kohanim are going to bow down, so go and bow down.
And the Rosh of the Ma'amad of that week,
he would put all the Tmeim in different places.
In the eastern gate, so everybody should know they are not serving because they're Tamid, not because they're lazy. Or a different reason in order to embarrass them. Why weren't you careful not to become Tamid? What parts of the Korban Tamid, would be tied up on the Mizbeach?
One hand and one foot.
To remind us of Akedas Yitzchak. The lamb was not tied with his 4 legs. Why?
Because one reason because it's to be on the kochim.
And the other reason?
That's what the going used to.
Chukos are going. What do you mean when it said that that's the way? What was your first reason?
It's bizayon kochim because
why?
That's how they used to sell the animals.
The Gemara asks, what's the nafkamina? What's the practical implication between these 2 reasons? Bottom line, you don't do it. What's the difference? Why that is? With a gold.
The gold strings, then it's not bizayon, but it's still like a ring.
Very good. Or with another nice, like a silk rope. How did Allah Maseches Tamid? Now we're going to start asking questions about Maseches Midot. All those who come into Har HaBayis come in from what side?
Right.
And they go around and they go out from the
left.
Except
for the Bilim and Menudim.
Correct. Why is that?
So people are going to be mercy and then they'll have mercy and then they'll ask them what happened and they'll them.
How many puratzos did the Greeks open up in the Soreg? At the time that they became rich, they made all the gates in Beis Hamikdash out of
gold.
Except for the gates Shari Nikanor. Why?
One reason because there was a nest in those in that shah.
And some say
because the copper was like yellow like gold. It was nice.
Where do we find the first mechitza between men and women? In the Azar and Beis Hamikdash at the time of Simchas Beis Sheva. In order?
So they're not going to be together.
What's the size, the space that Har HaBayis occupies?
500 amot, 500 amot.
What's the size of the Mizbeach Chitzon?
32 amot, 32 amot.
What is in the middle of the height of the Mizbeach? What is Sikra? What color is that?
Red.
What is that chut of Sikra doing in the middle of the height of the Mizbeach?
Sometimes you need to sprinkle the blood on the top, sometimes on the bottom. So that shows you what's the top and what's the bottom.
How often do you clean the Mizbeach? How often? How many times a year?
Twice a year. Once at Pesach, once at Sukkot.
And the Heichal?
Once at Pesach. And some say...
But there's another opinion. How many times?
Each week. Each week on Erev Shabbos.
Rebbe says every Erev Shabbos because they have to clean it from the blood. Why don't you put a iron on the Mizbeach?
Because the iron shortens the days of a person and Mizbeach makes...
lengthens it. And therefore it's not appropriate. What's the size, the entrance of the Ulam? The height is?
40.
and the width is
20.
If there needs to be something fixed in Kodesh HaKodeshim, what do?
You put the ends inside a box. Then
You put who inside the box? Why is it in a box?
So they can't look around.
What's the entrance, the size of the entrance of the Heichal? The height
20.
and the width?
10.
Who comes in? In the gate, in the south of the Heichal? It's only a shout for Hashem. No one ever came in through it. What's the size of the building of the Heichal? Height is? Times 10. 100. And the length?
100.
And the width?
100.
What is Kala Oirev?
It's like from iron, so birds don't sit down on it.
Where do you put it?
On the top.
On the roof of the Mikdash. What was the base of Mikdash similar to?
A lion.
Why?
It's wide. It's wide in the
front.
in the front
100 amma.
And then it's narrow in the back.
Only 70 amma. Last question. What is the size of the Azara? The length is?
187 amma.
And the width is?
35 amma.
Shkoyach to the peasant boys and girls.